I just hit the thing. Hi, everybody.
All right, let's do this thing. Welcome.
Right.
Good to see you again.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Last time I was with you on stage, it was an ensemble. We had the entire cast here.
Yeah, that's way better than just me.
It was no. I think it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to.
It'll be
speaking to you
great,
on a
but it's way
one-on-one.
better when it's everybody
It's way
else.
better when it's everyone.
I get it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Maybe for you, I don't know. Maybe it's more comfortable that people can take answers.
Oh no, I think for everybody else, it's way better when everybody
so they
else.
don't have to listen to us.
To just
ramble.
me droning on forever. Yes.
Heard. Well, this is great to be here with you. Welcome to Columbus. How's your weekend been so far?
It's been great. I love it here. This is my third time in Columbus, so yeah, this is a great place.
It is a great place. I want to start off speaking about Pod Meets World.
Okay.
And of course, how fans out there, Pod Meets World.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys are also live. You go on tour.
We're
the
here.
Kids still want to jump, and you're here next Thursday.
On Thursday, yeah. We're
yes.
in town
Is
on
anybody
Thursday.
going to the show? If not, Live Nation. You can get Ticketmaster,
Yes.
StubHub, get tickets. What can fans of the podcast look to experience at the live show that's different from what they see on the show?
Oh, God, way different. So one of the things that we love is that we are really interactive with the audience. So we like to bring audience members up on stage to do some stuff, and
Nice.
you get to see clips of things maybe you've never seen before. We've got some special guests. I mean, you're gonna love it. It's really cool.
So a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff.
It is. It's all behind people. You know, a lot of times when you hear podcast tour, you think kind of like, what, are you just going to sit there and podcast on stage? Which we don't do at all. It has nothing to do with the podcast. We talk about things from the podcast, but there's a costume contest, and as Daniel likes to say, I never throw anything away. So the winner of the costume contest I kept all original scripts from when we did Boy Meets World back in the 90s. So we sign original, like, table drafts of stuff of favorite episodes, things like that.
So you never throw things away?
No.
Because I'm the same way. I like to say that I'm a collector. My wife would say I'm a hoarder.
I would agree with that, yeah. But our house is very neat. It's like we don't have my wife likes to say there's a place for everything and everything in its place.
Yeah.
So you don't see this stuff, but I do. I collect, like, every time I come to a convention and somebody gives me something, I keep everything. I've never thrown anything away that anyone's ever handed me.
Yeah.
So I have kind of boxes and boxes of, the cool friendship bracelets and drawings that people have made me and things like that. So I save it all. Yeah,
I read, and I've watched a lot about you, of course, and I've been a fan of you for many, many years, grew up watching you. I see a lot of things that you're saying that you're a certified nerd. You love being in conventions.
100%.
I think I saw an interview of you where someone gave you like a bobblehead or a pop, and it was out of the box. And you're like, no!
No,
that's the number one rule. Don't break that rule.
We just got 2 weeks ago, they just debuted the Kim Possible Pops.
Nice.
So we finally have a Kim and a Ron and a Shigo, and we went to the pop store to sign them, and they wanted us to do an unboxing, and it was the nerd in me was just dying inside. With every pop of the box, I was like, please don't make me do this.
Yeah.
So, but it was great. It was fun to finally get some Kim Possible Pops, which is cool.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I'm sure that you get to do a lot of conventions, and as much as you get to interact with the fans and things like that, how much do you get to actually like look around and shop the floor?
I always do. Every convention I do. I've already walked around here twice, and I just have to stay away from buying more dice because I'm a D&D nerd, so I am just constantly wanting to buy more and more dice, and it gets to a point where you have to just stop buying sets of dice.
It's funny that you mentioned that because yesterday I got to play my first D&D ever on live here. It was amazing, super hooked. I can't wait.
It's the greatest.
I got to play with some people from Misty Mountain Gaming.
Cool.
And Coulter, he's here, and you can go visit him. He's awesome.
Yeah.
But he's a great DM. He really led me in. It was a lot of fun. I heard that your introduction was through Matt Mercer. Is that correct?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that, how you got introduced to it, and how much fun just D&D is, because it is a lot of fun.
It's a blast. So I was doing a show with Matt Mercer called Thundercats back in the day, and we loved doing it, and he leaned over to me and said, I'm getting a D&D game together. Do you want to play? And I went, no, not really. Thank you. That became Critical Role.
And you voiced Lion-O in that. In
I was Lion-O in that, and he was Tigra, so we were brothers. And then so Critical Role took off, and he came back to me and said, just come and play with us. I said, Matt, I really don't know what I'm doing. He said, that's all right, we'll teach you how to play. So knowing nothing of D&D, he called me one day, and he said, all right, I'm going to come over tomorrow, and we're going to create your character.
Yeah.
And I went, okay, great. This is going to be a fun half hour. 7 hours later, we're still rolling, and I'm dripping with sweat, like getting it. And it was just, by that point on, I was hooked. So the first time I ever played was actually on Critical Role with the Critical Role cast and Will Wheaton, who I've known since I was 13. And he's just rolling ones next to me the entire time. That was Wheaton. But at that point, then I was just absolutely hooked. And then Mary McGlynn and I had a home game that we were getting together, and Steve Bloom came and played, and it was just a ton of fun. So voiceover actors were kind of crazy people, and we love to do the voices and love to be on stage and love to entertain. So when you get 8 of us around a table, it can get a little crazy. Yeah.
Oh, it's so much fun. You get to improv, you get to play. And
Well, that's what I say. It's improv with consequence.
Yeah.
Which I love. So
it's super fun.
It's so great.
And as much as you don't want any more dice, on behalf of Misty Mountain Gaming, they wanted to give you his favorite set of dice.
No.
Not only are they clear and gold, but if you look, they're liquid in the middle.
Why are you doing this to me? I just told you I wanted to stop.
Yeah, well, there you go. You know what? I just wanted to hook you up.
These are brilliant.
Aren't those
thank
cool?
You so
Yeah,
much.
so when you
and
get a
I love
chance, check
Misty
'em
Mountain.
out.
I've actually gotten a bunch of sets from them. They're phenomenal.
Yeah,
so.
they're awesome. They're cool guys over there.
Yes.
Yeah, so put that in your pocket.
Thank
Don't tell your
you.
wife. Hide it.
I will. Yeah,
The secret dice collection.
She's okay. But at this point, she's like, I know you're good. Fine, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I wanted to ask you about this because was Boy Meets World? Would you say that was like your breakout role? And if so, where were you before Boy Meets World? Were you auditioning? Do you have any like low level, like smaller roles, bit parts, commercials, things that you booked before you got Boy Meets World?
Yeah. So yeah, Boy Meets World was definitely the one that took me, out of. Kind of the audition circuit. And so I grew up in Connecticut, and both my parents are attorneys. My father's the captain of the Navy. So the idea of one of us being an actor we had no idea how to do that. I mean, I said I want to be an actor, and they went, okay, like, how do we do this?
Yeah.
And it came to the point of literally getting headshots. My dad knew a Navy buddy of his took pictures. So they took pictures of me having no idea how to do a headshot. It was just like this kind of stuff when I was 9 or 10. And he brought home the Yellow Pages, which the Yellow Pages back in the day were a phone book where you had to look things up. And we found the name of 5 or 10 managers or 20 managers in New York City at the time. This was 1985. And just started sending them around. And about 3 months later, a manager called me, and I went down and read for him. And like 6 months later, I was on my first series. So I was an original Nickelodeon kid.
Get out
From
of here.
about, like, I got slimed on Nickelodeon. That's how long ago I was on Nickelodeon.
That's every kid's dream at that time.
Yeah.
That and going on Double Dare and
So I was
crawling through the ear.
I was in the Double Dare era. So I was on a show called Don't Just Sit There, and we were like a young Saturday Night Live. We had a band and special guests, and we got to interview all these people, and we did skits. It was really, really cool. And so I was on Nickelodeon from 11, 12 to 15, and then at 16 I got Boy Meets World and moved out to California. But yeah, I would go down to New York City, and I'd walk in, and you go read for a Cheerios commercial or something like that, and then I'd get back on the bus and go back to Connecticut 3 hours back.
Yeah.
And that's how it started. And then, once Boy Meets World started, we were only picked up for 13 episodes, and frankly, I love television. It's my favorite thing in the world. So I hoped it was going to go, but nobody really knew.
Right.
And we went up for 7 years. So
it's like you never know what's gonna hit.
No idea. And we were never secure in doing the show. So every single year, right up to the end, we were wondering if we were going to get picked up to do more. It was never like Sabrina the Teenage Witch was so popular that they'd pick them up for 2 seasons at a time sometimes. So they knew that they were working. Where we were on the 5th season of our show, and we knew we loved what we were doing, but we still had no idea. We'd finish the last episode of the season and hug each other and go, I hope we get to see each other again next year. We just didn't know. So we kept going.
And with the immense success of that show leads to now you're doing this podcast. It's almost like a revival of people who loved the show.
Yeah.
And I think it's such a great concept. Like, not only are you talking, but you're revisiting these episodes. You're bringing up memories of things that you probably haven't spoken about. What does it feel like to just be able to do that with Danielle, with Ryder, and just to bring those memories back to life again?
Well, that's the best part about it is, Danielle and Ryder are my 2 best friends, and we have been for going on 30 years now. No, it's over 30 years now. Yikes. So anytime you get to do something this special, it's always amazing. But when you get to do it with people that are that important to you, it just makes it better.
Yeah.
We thought we were going to be doing a podcast, that it was going to take a little bit of our time. We were going to talk about the show, and we had no idea what it would become. And it just kind of exploded, and it's in a way taken over our lives. So now we're doing the live tours, and we're together all the time, and they're having us travel. I mean, it's been really great. So.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys are almost at, like 400 or something episodes? How many episodes of this show do we have already out there?
I don't know. It's funny. I honestly don't know. I know that it should be this month or next month we should be hitting 45 million downloads.
Wow, that's incredible.
So we're just loving it and having a blast. And then that led to the other podcast that I do, which is on the same feed, called Magical Rewind, where Sabrina Bryan and I, who's one of the Cheetah Girls, we just get to watch all the Disney Channel original movies. So which I'd never seen, and so as a 48-year-old man, some of them are not my favorite, and then I hear it from the fans because just quick rule of thumb, don't bash the Lizzie McGuire movie.
Oh no, absolutely not. Don't do it.
I learned that the hard way. That's not something people like.
Yeah.
Just whatever happens, even if it makes no sense, say that's the best thing I've ever seen and move on.
Noted. I will never bash that movie again.
People love some of the Disney Channel movies. Just have such. When I the first time I saw it was when we watched Brink, and I went, yeah, it's okay. And man, did I hear it from people like, how could you say Brink was just okay? It was. I was like, oh, geez, what kind of world did I just step into? So it's fun.
Well, you're no stranger to the podcast game. Of course, you know, you had I Hear Voices with Christy Carlson Romano. What was that like, bringing that together? And, of course, to reconnect with her and to be able to bring that podcast to life.
That was a ton of fun. That was my foray into the podcast world. We just knew we loved the world of animation and we loved voiceover actors. So it was, hey, let's just interview as many voiceover actors as we can. And I'm so glad we did that show because, you know, we got to interview Kevin Conroy and people that are no longer with us, and it was super important to kind of capture all that stuff for us. And then we knew the show was going to end, and I wanted to end with a bang, so we ended with actually a contest where we went out nationally. We had it was like 6,000 entries. And with the help of other voiceover actors, we picked a new voiceover actor that actually signed with my agent.
Oh, wow.
And she's been working nonstop since. So we hopefully discovered a new voiceover talent, which is
that's
cool.
a main way to pay it forward.
Yeah,
you know,
it was cool.
Open
it was
the door
a lot
for
of
someone
fun.
else
Yeah,
who
it was really great.
may not have been afforded that opportunity otherwise. That's wonderful.
It was cool. And of course, Christy's another person who's very important to me. And when we started Kim Possible, we also didn't know what it was going to become. And so anytime I get to see Christy and her husband, Brendan's a friend of mine, it's been really special.
Now, did the transition to voice acting come immediately after Boy Meets World, or how did that? What was the segue?
No, it actually happened during Boy Meets World. So we were 5 seasons into Boy Meets World, I think 6 seasons in. It must have been 5. And my agent called and said they're casting for a new show. It's called Batman Beyond, and it's coming off of Batman the Animated Series. And I went, well, then why are they calling me? I'm never going to, what's the point? I've never done this before. I have no idea what I'm doing. But it turned out that Bruce Timm, who created Batman the Animated Series and Justice League and everything else, his wife was a big Boy Meets World fan. And she said, you should bring in Will. And so I went in and I read with Andrea Romano. And for anybody who doesn't really know what that was like back in the day, it would be like never having been in a movie and them saying, hey, come in to read for the lead in a Steven Spielberg movie. You've got Bruce Timm and Glenn Murakami and Paul Dini and all these amazing writers, and then Andrea Romano, who's arguably the greatest animation director in history, voice director. And then my second audition, I'm sitting next to Kevin Conroy to see what, if we had chemistry. So it was just a daunting task, and I couldn't believe it. And then when they said, yes, you got the part, I frankly thought they were lying to me. I still think I'm going to be fired. So it was really, then it led to, like Return of the Joker, where I'm for 2 weeks sitting in between Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy, and it was just, it was one of the greatest experiences ever.
Yeah, if we could just touch base on that for a moment, talking about your time working with Kevin Conroy, who is heralded as one of the best Batmans ever.
Batman.
Yes, exactly. That's what everyone says. And I wanted to speak about, how they say life imitates art, art imitates life. You, as a young voice actor, getting to work with him, a veteran voice actor, versus Terry McGinnis' character getting to work with Bruce. What was that like, and what was the relationship like, and how genuine was it when you guys were working together, and then bringing that to life on screen?
That was it. Kevin and I did a lot of conventions together, and we kind of traveled a lot together, and I'm blessed to say that I got to spend the time with him that I did.
Yeah.
But it did. The relationship between Terry and Bruce very much kind of mimicked the relationship that Kevin and I had. Again, having never done this before, little things as an actor, you sit down and the microphone's right here, but you're Kevin and you'd say something to me, my instinct was to do this and talk like this. And he's like, no, you got to go into the microphone. I was sorry. And we do another take and I go like this and talk. And so little things where I'm hunching over like this, or I'm moving my pages too loud, and he would just taught me how to, hey, roll your shoulders back, sit back, open your diaphragm up. Here's how we're going to move the pages. He really helped with everything. I absolutely would not be the voiceover actor I am today without Kevin in my life. So, he was an amazing man. He really was.
Yeah, obviously he's amazing, and again, loved by so many, and it was such a blessing that you got the opportunity to work under his wing.
Amazing.
So to speak. I wanted to talk about just voice acting in general and what it means to you to be able to bring these characters to life, to see the words on the page, and to really be able to just put your life into them.
It's the greatest job in the world. It really is. I love being on television, and being in a sitcom was my dream my entire life. And
Yeah.
there's something about show night, especially. You're sitting there, and anybody who's done theater or anything, you know, you hear the audience out front, you feel that energy, especially as the show went on and we were getting more and more popular. I mean, it was a crowd of, you know, be 315, 16-year-olds that are stamping their feet, and there's just this energy that comes with it. And I thought, man, nothing's ever going to top this. And then I found voiceover, which is just, you're sitting there with some of the most talented people in the world, and you just get to play. And, you know, when you walk in, you're setting the voice. So a lot of times it's, all right, here's the character you're going to play. He's 15. And say, okay, so I got to raise my voice a little. No, he's a gruff 15. Okay, so he's going to be down here. And you just get to kind of work with everything. It's very creative. The business has unfortunately changed quite a bit now, where everybody's recording separately since COVID, which it's still wonderful to do, but not nearly as fun as walking into a room with 15 other actors. And that's what, you know, Kevin used to always say, and he's right, he'd say, it's a radio play from the 30s.
Yes.
And so you're sitting there and you're reading it straight through, page by page, script by script, and then you're going to go back and you're going to clean some stuff up. But you're not doing it in chunks. You're reading a play.
Yeah.
And it still is one of the greatest jobs ever.
Yeah, and you have so much range in your voice, and I wanted to ask you, because you've had the opportunity to voice so many amazing characters, whether it be Deadpool, Star-Lord, we mentioned Lionel a moment ago, Blue Beetle, Kid Flash, so many heroes that you've got a chance to voice. I wanted to know, you've had a lot of opportunities to be a voice actor, but also to refine and define your signature sound. Do you have any moments that stand out as some of the best moments that really helped you refine or define your sound?
That's interesting. You know, the Deadpool was one of those days where everything just kind of clicked.
Yeah.
And it was just also a magical day because Stan Lee happened to be there in the room at the same
Get
time.
outta here. What?
So
you get to hang out with, Mark Hamill, Stan Lee.
Yeah.
You're living the dream, man. It's amazing.
It was really one of those days where it was just, it was
like,
truly
as a
incredible.
kid from Connecticut, when you sit back and look at this, I mean, like,
It's again, I always tell people, just forget my career, which I've been so lucky with my career, but just the family I was born into and how close I am with my family, my brothers, my parents, my wife, everything. I always say I was blessed before I was born. I either did something very right in a past life or had something very wrong done to me.
yeah, so this is owed to you
So
in a way.
I just feel like, it's something magical had happened. So yeah, just very, very lucky. And it's one of those things where it's funny, my wife and we stop often to remind ourselves how lucky we are and don't take anything for granted.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about, of course, one of your most popular, one of your most famous roles, Ron Possible. Let's talk about Ron Stoppable from
yes.
Kim Possible.
Yes.
You hear it, deet, 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 deet. I mean, everybody knows the sound.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the show. How did you get on that, and what was your experience like working on Kim Possible as Ron Stoppable?
Yeah, I was a Disney kid for a long time, and by the time that Boy Meets World ended, we then went on to the Disney Channel.
It's so funny that you say you're a Disney kid because you were also a Nickelodeon kid. Back then, you were either one or the other.
No,
but you got
ship.
to be
I
both.
got to do
That's
both,
amazing.
which was really cool. I got to do both, which was really cool. But it was, and then they said they're doing this new show called Kim Possible, and I met Christy, and she and I recorded the pilot together, and then we didn't record together again until like 2 years later.
So you did the pilot and then didn't see or hear anything about this for 2 years?
No. We still recorded, but Christy went to college.
Oh.
So she was recording by herself in New York. And John DiMaggio and Nicole Sullivan and I are recording in L.A.
Right.
So we, when I saw the show, you'd see the two of us together. But I think we still joke about this. Of the 4 seasons of Kim Possible we did, I think Christy and I worked together in the same room maybe 3 times.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was
you had more time together in the podcast than
way more.
than we did.
Way more time doing the podcast.
Wow.
Than we did actually doing Kim Possible.
So you guys got to connect more during the podcast days than during the show.
Yeah.
So what was that like? Because, I mean, it's
It
a
was
whole different
great.
dynamic. Yeah.
I mean, it was great. I mean, we got to know each other as people because we traveled together. I mean, we would do press junkets and things like that. They flew us to England, and so we got to kind of know each other in that respect. But working together, we very rarely shared a booth.
Yeah.
So to this day, we've probably only done it 5 or 6 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite moments of playing Ron?
Oh, man. Ron, the thing I love about Ron is Ron and Stoppable and Eric Matthews were very similar characters. In that no one ever said to me when I was playing Eric, maybe pull it back a little bit. Never happened. You couldn't go big enough, and Ron was the same way. He was a living, wacky, he was Eric in cartoon form. So just being the sidekick, being, you know, the pants constantly falling down and all that kind of, he was just crazy. So no matter, you couldn't go big enough, and that's one of my favorite things. It was also, if you go back and you look at the cast list of Kim Possible, the people that we had on Kim Possible, Batman Beyond's the same way, but Ricardo Montalban, we had just this strange, like the weirdest kind of cast of people that were so amazing, Gene Smart and all these people. And so I look back at that and I think like, wow, Elliot Gould played Ron Stoppable's dad. You know, like
That's
all
so
these
cool,
just
yeah.
incredible people. So it was a pretty magical time.
And it's still a magical time. You still come to conventions and you still see people dressing up as Kim, dressing up as Ron. How does that feel to see that still to this day?
It's great. And it's
Yeah.
also, I mean, you said it. I was at my local Target a month ago,
Yeah.
and 3 aisles over, I heard the deet, 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 deet. I mean, I was like, oh man, like, wait, what's going on? So yeah, there's still people that have the ringtone. It's great.
Awesome. This is absolutely amazing to be able to sit and chat with you for a moment. But
as
we
well.
have some fans here.
Yes,
I would love to
please.
open it up to the audience to get some questions. And again, if you don't get to ask your question here, you'll get an opportunity to go visit Will at his table. Will, once again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, what's your name and what's your question?
Hello there, Ron, darling. I am Kelsey impersonating as Shigo.
Oh no.
After Super Size Me was released, where the Kim Possible Happy Meal was featured, which could be filmed from maybe August or September 2003, how did you react after seeing that Oscar-nominated documentary that made the Disney crew decide to do a parody episode called Grande Size Me? For real life? Oh, and I wish we can go for that naked mole rat named Rufus Funko Pop. Eee!
That's great. I'm the only person in the world where the movie Super Size Me just made me hungry. It's terrible. It's true. I know it was supposed to disgust me, but I love McDonald's, and I ran right out and got it. It's a terrible thing to say, but it's accurate. It was one of those things where I was shocked. I also still go to McDonald's sometimes just to buy the toys. People don't know you can just go through the drive-thru just to get the toys. So they came out with a Kim Possible toy set. They came out with a Batman Beyond toy set. There was a whole Transformers Robots in Disguise toy set. So I'll still go through occasionally.
Oh, yeah,
to
you
just
were
buy the
Bumblebee
toys.
as well.
Yeah,
Yeah. I can't leave these credits out.
So it was, yes, I hate to say that, but Super Size Me just made me hungry.
Thank you, Ron, darling, but I'll be back when Dr. Dragon cracks a new scheme.
Great evil laugh.
Good evil
Thank
laugh.
you so much
Good
for your
Shigo.
question. Hi, what's your name? What's your question?
My name is Jarrett, and my question for you is, who is your favorite Batman and Robin?
That's such a tough
Oh,
question.
that's a tough question. It's not George Clooney.
Chris O'Donnell?
And Chris
No,
O'Donnell.
no.
It's not George Clooney. I thought it was really interesting. So I played Nightwing a lot as well, so I love Dick Grayson. But that being said, Damian is so out there, crazy, trained assassin that they took him really dark. And so there's something about Bruce and Damian together in that relationship that's kind of quickly becoming my favorite. And then, of course, once they turned Jason Todd. I mean, originally nobody liked Jason, which is why they had him killed off. And then they went, all right, let's go back and see what we can do with him. And then he becomes Red Hood, and it's like, oh, now you took him and made him one of the coolest characters ever. So they've done really well, I feel like, with the Robins. Robin is one of those characters that I think gets a lot of grief and doesn't necessarily need to get that much grief. But I'm strangely gonna stick with Bruce and Damian. I think it's a weird combination.
You're still my favorite Batman.
Oh, that's very sweet. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Hi, what's your name? What's your question?
Hi, my name's Raymond, and my question is, in the animation industry, sometimes one thing, unfortunately, that happens is a lot of shows tend to get canceled or cut short, like, say, The Owl House or Haley's on It.
Yeah.
And my question to you is, do you find that that's just something that's inevitable in the industry, or is it because of late people aren't appreciating animation as much?
No, you know what? The perfect example of that is one of my favorite projects I've ever done is the 2011 reboot of Thundercats. So good. It was great, and the reason I loved it so much is not only was I voicing Lion-O, but I was actually writing a number of the episodes as well, and was going to be writing a lot of season 2. And we actually got picked up for season 2, and then they pulled the green light. And the reason that it got canceled is because the toys weren't selling. So everything's connected, and if you love a show, go buy the toys. it really matters. If you show the love to the show, then it has a chance of lasting. But shows get canceled all the time. It's unfortunate. There's great shows that get canceled. You know, I go back to I don't know if you've ever seen the Naked Gun movies. So the Naked Gun movies were from a television show originally that they only did 6 episodes of, called From the Files of the Police Squad.
Police Squad, so good.
And it's so good, and they just thought it was too smart for people, and they ended up canceling it. So you never know what you're going to get you kind of addicted to that then is going to be pulled. So just love them while you can, frankly. But yeah, no, that Thundercats for me was that show where that one still to this day bums me out. Also because the last episode, not to, spoiler alert, but ends with Mum-Ra winning, and then they canceled the show. So the bad guy wins, and then they stop making him. I was like, oh, it's a great thing to show kids. Yeah, bad guy won, roll credits. So yeah, buy the toys and support your shows, because you never know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, step on up. What's your name? What's your question?
Hello, Will.
Hi.
My name is Malfred. Quick question. What was it like coming back as Terry in Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths?
It was really cool. It was one of those things where I didn't, you wonder if you're going to be able to slip right back into it, because it had been 20 years since I'd done the voice or so. We did the Darwin Cook special. But other than that, just kind of getting back into the register and doing it again. But I was like slipping into a warm bath. It was so much fun to go into.
You did an amazing job.
Oh, thank you very much. It's very sweet. And I think that was Kevin's last film. So it was one of those things where it was bittersweet all the way around to be able to play Terry again, knowing Kevin was gone. But yeah, that was special.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Hi, what's your name and what's your question?
Hi, my name's Paige, and I was fortunate enough to meet you yesterday, so awesome to see you again.
You as well.
And my question is, where do you think him and Ron would be in 2025 as adults?
Oh, great question. Christy and I have been asked this before, and we both agree they'd still be married. We think they would have twins, and they'd be kind of like an Incredibles family.
That'd be amazing.
That's what I would say, because I think, she had Jim and Tim were the brothers, so twins run in the family. I think they have twins, and I think they're probably twin girls, and I think the whole family is still fighting crime. And Ron's also an actuary on the side.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
That would be a great, not reboot, but like a
Reimagining,
sequel
yeah.
series to the
Hey,
original. Hey,
please.
fans, put it out there.
Put it out there.
Could happen. Hi, what's your name? What's your question?
Hi, I'm Brandon. You had mentioned like Eric Matthews being like kind of an over-the-top character, and I talked to you a little bit yesterday at your table about like how he starts off as like the cool brother, and he becomes this goofball, but he does have his serious moments. And
Yeah.
like with like Timmy and the cleaning out the garage, and I just wondered if like there's anything you do to prepare a little bit differently to get into that mindset, and if like you have a preference of like the goofy versus the very serious.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as an actor, you hope you can do both well. I always tended towards comedy, so I always second guess my dramatic acting. I just have since I was even a kid. I always liked the goofy stuff, especially as Boy Meets World got more and more serious. On the podcast now, we're about halfway through season 6, and it's really dramatic at times, like melodramatic at times. And so being the lighthearted one who's kind of keeping the comedy going I've always been a fan of that. I'm more a fan of that now than I was then. When I was doing it then, I was like, why does everybody get to do all this cool dramatic stuff and I'm sneezing the lottery numbers? But as I look back on it now, I think to myself, no, that's exactly what I should have been doing at the time. So not too much different prep, but I was certainly more comfortable with the comedy than I was the drama.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think the goofy comedy moments definitely made those serious moments hit harder.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. Yeah, there was a nice balance to Eric, and then there was no balance at all.
Yeah.
And the no balance at all was a kind of a fun way to play it towards the end.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Hi, what's your name? What's your question?
Hi, my name's Dominic. I ran into you
Yes.
downstairs.
Yes. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I actually had a question for you that I didn't think of. Like, where did you come up with the voice for Ron? Because I know some people are like, oh, I pulled on inspiration from, since we have Kevin Conroy on the dial, Kevin Conroy, for example, or they say, hey, he's 15, 16 years old, looking for a voice around there, and they kind of just say, and go.
that was kind of it. They kind of just said and go. And if you notice, Ron's voice kind of changes as the show goes on. So I didn't start up here with him. He was more kind of a normal kid, but the more wacky again the show got, the more it just kind of elevating and elevating. And to be honest, if I had to go do it again, I would have pulled that back. I would have stuck with the original kind of voice from the beginning the entire way through. But it became so much fun to be able to go, Kim, up here, that it just kind of then stuck up there. But I think if I had to do it again, I would have pulled myself back to that kind of original register that he was at.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you.
This whole front row giggled when you did that.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Boo, yeah. Thank you. It's very sweet.
I kind of got that too. Hi, my name
Hi.
is Sean.
Hi, Sean.
To meet you again. I was gonna say like a lot of your roles had like a big brother uncle complexes to them, and like how they related to family. Whether it was like Uncle Doyle trying to like get back with the rest of the Secret Saturdays,
Yeah.
or even Terry McGinnis when he had that fallout with his dad. But then he gets a grumpy old grandpa that teaches him the ways of how to be the Dark Knight. You have excelled at that, especially
thank
with like Lionel and a lot of other characters. But whether it's acting or whether it was like with the boys, whether it be Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy and all the rest of the amazing cast team, what was it like being a part of that, whether it was like inside the show or outside the show? Like, how'd you handle that?
It was great. I mean, obviously you have some shows that you get closer with the cast than you do with other shows. I mean, for instance, Boy Meets World, they're my best friends and always will be. Batman Beyond, I was close with Kevin, and I were close right to the end. But then there's some shows that you do and you just kind of move on. Maybe one or two people you become. A perfect example is Thundercats. I'm friendly with most of the cast, but I still consider Matt Mercer a good friend of mine. So there might be one or two people you pick up from each cast. You know, very, very close with everybody from Guardians of the Galaxy, but Trevor Duvall and I maintained a friendship throughout. So you never know what it's going to be, especially. Luckily, it's changing in the industry where they're giving more people an opportunity to become voice actors, where when I really started, every time I walked in the room, I'd see the same 8 or 9 people. Doesn't matter what show we were doing, I would always see the same people. So there's kind of the OGs everywhere. You know, I was downstairs just talking to Gray Delisle, and it's like I've known Gray for 20 years. So it's a good thing that the business is opening up and more people are getting opportunities, because it was a very small group that I was very lucky to be involved with. But you never know when you're going to meet that person that's going to be your friend for 25 years. And I've been lucky to meet a number of those people. And again, literally some of them are downstairs right now. So you walk around, I see Roger Craig Smith, and as I'm walking up here, Roger's walking past me, and we both instinctually just shoved each other. Because it's like, that's what you do. That's Roger, and I'm going to push him. By the way, creepy story, Roger and I share the same birthday, and our older brothers share the same birthday.
Wow.
So Roger and I are forever linked. And we both think Rad is the greatest movie ever made. So we're linked forever. By the way, anybody who doesn't know Rad, go out right now. Greatest 80s BMX movie ever made. It's awesome.
It is amazing. Love
Thanks
it.
again, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right. All right. So, is it okay if we do like a lightning round?
Sure.
Rapid fire.
As long as there's no math.
Yeah. No math. No math allowed.
Okay.
All right. Hi. What's your name? What's your question?
Hi, I'm Jared. I was a huge Boy Meets World fan.
Thank you.
And I wondered, all of the youth characters saw a lot of evolution of their character throughout the series. How much of that was influenced by the actual cast versus like writers and focus group data and stuff?
Yeah, it's a great question. As we've been watching the show again, we realized they took a lot from our lives. Ryder Strong especially. Ryder, in real life, loved the Counting Crows, loved poetry, loved all, and so they just would always go on road trips, would do this kind of thing. So they kind of took from his life to write his character. I hope with Eric they didn't do that with me. But I think they probably did. I'm a goofball. I've always been a goofball, so I think they just started to write for that. So we always say that in a sitcom that gives, a sitcom especially, that gives the actors a chance to grow because the show lasts, at first they write to you and then they write for you. So, you know, at first they write the character, you act out the character, then they start to see what you're doing, and next thing you know, they've got your voice in their head, and they start to write to that. And that's one of the reasons I think I became so wacky and crazy. Ryder became so angst-ridden, we joke about, because that was Ryder. He was always, something. And Danielle was not the hippie kind of girl as a kid, so she was the mall girl. So they kind of changed Topanga as they went along, and they wrote more for us as the show went. Thank you.
All right. Hey, what's your name and your question?
I'm Tony, and I'm wondering your opinion on the Batman Who Laughs, and will we ever see him animated?
The Batman what?
The Batman Who Laughs.
I don't know the Batman Who Laughs.
It's a Batman that kind of fused with the Joker. and went insane.
I don't know anything about this, and I'm deep diving it the second I leave this room. And I think it's awesome, and I want to see the movie immediately.
Fantastic.
Go visit him at his table later and tell him more about it.
Yeah, because I love stuff like that. Like when they took the Riddler and they made him hush, things like that. Ugh, I'm here for it all day long.
All right, hi.
Batman Who Laughs. Oh my God, I know what I'm doing tonight.
My speed round question is, who's your favorite Batman Beyond villain?
Ooh, good question. There are so many of them are so good. One of the ones that I loved because she never spoke, she was just there to kill you, was Curare. I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. But Ink as an actual villain, pretty great. And Shriek as an actual villain was also really great. It's tough to say because the one thing that Bruce, Tim, and Paul Dini did so well is they create a rogues gallery like no one else. So they were, those would be my favorite. Bloodsport. I mean, there's so many good ones.
I like the Royal Flush Gang.
Royal Flush Gang was great. And he hooks up with Melanie, and that's kind of like his Selena Kyle. Oh, don't get me started. It was awesome. Thank you.
All right, we have our final 3 questions. Hi.
Hi, my name is Khalid, and I was wondering if they did greenlit a Batman Beyond movie, an animated Batman Beyond movie, like how they in Spider-Verse style.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to hop back into Terry again for like all time?
So you mean as a voice actor?
Yeah.
Okay, so not on camera because I couldn't fit in the suit.
Right.
Would it be tough because Kevin's not involved?
I was just going to say, if you asked me that question 3 years ago, oh my God, yes, get me in front of the microphone right now. Now that Kevin's gone, I don't know if I could do it. I think they need to recast both roles because being Terry and not having him answer as Bruce, I don't think I could do it.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And our final 2 questions. Hi.
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 My name's Teresa. I have one question.
Yes.
I've been in love with Terry McGinnis forever. Will you marry me?
As Terry McGinnis, we can talk about it. As me, my wife would have things to say.
Okay. I'll take the first answer.
Okay, good.
All right, and no pressure, but this is the final question.
Hey, my name's Andrew. Did the studio ever approach you about continuing your role as Terry McGinnis?
You know, we have been hearing that we're doing more Batman Beyonds, that there's going to be a live-action movie, that they're doing a new series since we ended in 2000. I will believe it when there's something. When I'm sitting in a movie theater watching Terry McGinnis on screen in some way, shape, or form, I will believe it. But until then, we keep hearing yes, then no, then yes, then no. So about every 5 years, I get a call from somebody going, dude, did you see the news? They're in production right now. And I'm like, no, they're not. Yes, they are. They already said that he signed out. Clint Eastwood is playing the new. I'm like, none of that's happening. No, it's true. And it never has. So, again, hopefully, and I'll believe it when I see it.
All right, cool. Melanie's best, by the way.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, thank you all so much for your questions. Yeah, clap it up. Couple things before we wrap up, of course. Just want to remind the audience again, you guys are going to be live here next Thursday.
Yeah.
Not here at this convention center, but you can check out. They'll be here in Columbus.
Yeah, I think it's called the Joanne Davidson Theater.
Yes.
Which is another name for it. It's the Philly.
I don't know. Google it.
It's like a mile from here.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you'll be here, and then you guys are hitting the road. You're in Vegas.
Thursday night we're here. Friday night we're in Vegas. Saturday I'm in Connecticut.
That's so cool. You get to travel with your friends, telling your story.
It'd be cooler if I was 20. At almost 50, it's like, oh man, has the plane always been that loud? Like it's like that kind of thing. So, but I promise you, if you are either a Boy Meets World, a Pod Meets World, or a Girl Meets World fan, the live shows are so much fun.
Awesome. And then what other projects that you are allowed to speak about? Do you have anything on the horizon that we can look forward to?
I have several things on the horizon that I can't talk about.
Perfect.
That's the way, unfortunately, that works. But right now, it's all podcast all the time. And then there's a chance that Danielle Ryder and I are working on something a little special.
Okay, well, keep an eye out for that. Final question. We're going to do a stage selfie after this, so everybody please join us for that. You're from Connecticut. I'm from New York. Who has better pizza? Because you know they say the New Haven pizza is really good.
Yeah,
There's so much talk
yeah.
about New York pizza. What do you like better? Because you've had both, I'm sure.
Yeah, I have. Connecticut pizza's better.
Oh, all right.
The New York pizza is a unique style because of the New York water. So that's the thing that's why you can't get New York pizza anywhere else is because of the water in New York.
Right.
But the Connecticut pizza is pretty magical.
All right, well,
I just had that Jet pizza. That's really good.
Jet pizza's the bomb.
That's
love
really,
it, love it,
really
love it.
good. Yeah, they know their pizza here. I'm telling you.
Well, maybe we could talk more shows, more voice, more live action over some pizza.
Anytime.
It'll be great. Well, thank you so much. You've been an absolutely amazing guest. One more time.
Thank you
Please,
so much for
big
having
round of
me.
applause.
Thank you
Will
very
Friedle.
much. Thank you.
All right, let's do a stage selfie.
Yeah.
Everybody standing up. Join us up here.